MCV4U1 Chapter 4 Curve Sketching Session 3. In this session we are going to work on section 4.1 of the textbook, increasing and decreasing functions. We know when we are moving from left to right, if the function is falling, it is decreasing, and if it is climbing, it is increasing. Let's define interval of increase, decrease. We say a function f is decreasing on an interval if for any value of x1 less than x2 on the interval f of x1 is greater than f of x2. Similarly, we say that a function f is increasing on an interval if for any value of x1 less than x2 on the interval f of x1 is less than f of x2. For example, if we consider f of x equals x2 for x's between 0 and 2, if we choose x1 smaller than x2, f of x1 is smaller than f of x2, which means function is increasing when x is between 0 and 2. We are trying to find a relationship between the slope of the tangent line and the concept of increase-decrease on an interval. By looking at this graph, we'll see when the function is decreasing, the slope of the tangent line is negative at any point on that interval, and when the function is increasing, the slope of the tangent line is positive at any point on that interval. Let's take a look at the graph of f of x equals x3 plus 3x2 minus 2. For x is less than negative 2, the function is increasing. Between negative 2 and 0, it is decreasing. And after 0, it is increasing. The slope of the tangent line between negative 2 and 0 at any point between negative 2 and 0 is negative. The slope of the tangent line for x is greater than 0 is positive. If we draw this sign chart for the derivative of the function, we see for x is less than negative 2, derivative is positive. For x is between negative 2 and 0, derivative is negative. And for x is greater than 0, derivative is positive. When derivative is positive, the slope of the tangent line is positive. And when the derivative is negative, the slope of the tangent line is negative. When the slope of the tangent line is positive, function is increasing. When the slope of the tangent line is negative, function is decreasing. Generally speaking, if derivative of a function on an interval is negative, function is decreasing on that interval, and when it is positive, function is increasing on that interval. The next example is finding the derivative of x over x2 plus 1, which is negative x2 plus 1 over x2 plus 1 to the power of 2. At 1 and negative 1, derivative is 0. For x is less than negative 1, derivative is negative. Therefore, function is decreasing. When x is between negative 1 and 1, derivative is positive. Function is increasing. And finally, when x is more than 1, the function is decreasing since the derivative is negative. The next example, graph of f prime of x is given, and we are trying to sketch the graph of f of x. First of all, f prime of x is a quadratic function with a positive leading coefficient. Therefore, the original function is a cubic function with positive leading coefficient. Derivative is positive when x is smaller than -1 or bigger than 3. And for x is between -1 and 2, derivative is negative. The graph of derivative is below the x-axis, it is negative. Therefore, between -2, between -1 and 3, the function is decreasing. The derivative is negative, function is decreasing. Between -1 and 3, function is decreasing. After 3, derivative is positive, function is increasing. Before -1 is also positive. Cubic function would be similar to this. We know at -1 and 2, the tangent line to the graph of the function is horizontal. What we don't know is the y value at these 2 points. In summary, we learned a function f is increasing on an interval if for any value of x1 less than x2 in the interval f of x1 is smaller than f of x2. A function is increasing on an interval if the graph rises from left to right. On the other hand, the function is decreases when the graph falls from left to right. If x1 is smaller than x2 on that interval, then f of x1 is bigger than f of x2. For a function f that is continuous and differentiable on an interval I, f of x is increasing on I if f prime of x is positive for all values of x in I. F of x is decreasing on I if f prime of x is less than 0 for all values of x in the interval. The slope of the tangent line at a point on a section of a curve that is increasing is always positive, and if the function is decreasing, the slope of the tangent line in that section is negative. To see if a function is increasing and decreasing, if it is continuous and differentiable, we draw the sign chart for the first derivative. Whenever first derivative is positive, function is increasing. Whenever first derivative is negative, function is decreasing. To understand what we've done in this section, we are going to work on questions 1 part A, 3 part A, 6, 7, 8, 9 part A, and 11 on page 169, 170, and 171 next session. Thanks for watching.